Hi everyone, and Assalamualaikum. Welcome to another episode of Hasan Meets. Today, Hasan is meeting Brother Maysara all the way from the UK. And I'm not Hasan. My name is Umar Munchi. Hasan is our VC and Accelerator program. Before we get to know our guest for today, and for all of us to meet him and to learn from him and to be inspired by him, let me first spend a few less than a minute to share with you about Hasan itself. Now, Hasan is an angel group plus a venture capital firm plus startup accelerator. So we have three parts to Hasan: the angel group, the VC, and the accelerator. And all three come together to identify, support, nurture, and invest in early stage startups and tech enabled SMEs in the two regions that we focus on, which is Southeast Asia and GCC or the Arab countries. So that's in a brief what Hasan does. And what's unique about Hasan is two things. Firstly, we empower our angel investors to become VCs. And because if you want to be a VC, typically you'll need to have significant amount of capital. How we do it is our angel group are the investors for the venture capital fund that we manage, right? So in that way, we break down the capital barrier. If you are a budding angel investor, if you would like to be involved in VC, you can go to our website and apply to be a member. There's a screening process to make sure that we get people who are suitable and aligned with us. And the second thing is we invest in ethical and impactful companies, right? Companies that want to do good, that make a difference, and also comply to halal standards, which means that it is something that is safe for Muslims. Now, that's a quick overview of Hasan. Get to know more at Hasan, HASAN.VC. Now, today we are here with Brother Maysara. How are you, Maysara?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well also. And thank you for making time. It's great to connect and speak to you. We've not had the pleasure before this, although I've heard some things through the grapevine. And don't worry, they're all good things. A lot of my networks are very impressed with what you've accomplished in a short period of time. So
Thank you.
before we talk about business, before we talk about business, let's get to know the person behind the company. Maybe you could share a little bit about yourself in terms of your background, your history, leading up to how you ended up being the co-founder of your company.
Oh, thank you very much for having me today. So my name is Maysara Hamouda. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Predictiva. My background was in engineering, more specifically in systems engineering. I got my bachelor's from KFBM University in Saudi Arabia. I worked after that for some time with some companies like Kugawa and for a brief time with Saudi Aramco. And during that time, I got more excited about trading, so I decided to change career a little bit. And I then moved to the UK. I got my master's in AI from the University of Edinburgh back in 2020. During that, I worked also for some time with Amazon UK, and after that, as a research assistant with the University of Edinburgh in the field of AI and natural language processing. And after that, started the company back in 2020 also with my co-founder, Ashraf Atiyah, who's he's the co-founder and CEO of the company. That's mainly about myself.
All right. So engineer, like computer engineer or non-computer
So
engineer?
it was not computer engineering. It was called control and instrumentation systems engineering. So you can say it's automation engineering. So we used to work in industrial automation. So if you have, for example, an oil refinery or a big factory and you want to fully automate
Yeah.
that place, we fully automate it for you. So you do not need to do anything if there's any problem in the factory, for example. So you make sure that it will not get burned, for example, if there's any fault that happened somewhere. So it's like fully autonomous, not just automation. it was the logical next step to work in autonomous after that, which is what we are doing right now.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that there's more like hardware, physical automation. Of course, with software, right? But
it was a mix of both. So yeah, it was a mix of both. So there was a part of designing the systems and doing all the system designs, all the connections and all these things, and then how to translate all of these into a software that manages all this hardware.
All right, because I was trying to see, of course, what you're doing now is different, but
It's
the link
totally
you
different.
mentioned is about,
Yeah.
about autonomous, right? About being autonomous and
Yeah, it's just like the move from automated to autonomous. It's mainly the link between the two.
All right, yes, yes. And you mentioned that in the year 2000, you went to learn more or study AI, take your master's in AI, as well as set up your company. So, and prior to that, you had taken up the interest to do to trade, right? To trade in the stock markets, like crypto markets, I guess. So, today, of course, AI is booming. It's been booming for the past 2 years. It's been hanging around in the background for, I don't know, 8 years, right, before it became the boom, before it started to boom. So, in 2000, when you started learning it, it was just about to boom. So you came in at a good time. Why do you choose that path? Why do you choose AI?
Yeah, so I think so. So the thing is, when I was an employee, so after some time, you reach that point that you feel that you are giving the company more than what you are getting from the company, or you're giving the job more than what you're getting out of it. So you start thinking, what am I doing wrong, and how can I do that in a better way? So you start thinking about what are the fields that I should improve myself in. So that was maybe back in 2017 or something. It was just the start of the boom of new AIs, new machine learning after the deep learning booming, all of these things. So I started reading and got excited about that. That's why I chose to go and get my master's in AI. That was back in, so I started in 2019 in University of Edinburgh. It's a 1-year master's. So the reason behind all of this was, so I was trading since maybe 2012 or something like that. So it's been like 10, 12 years in the field. So the thing is, after some time, you know that the normal trading, the human trading is not really that useful most of the time, especially if you are trading things like cryptocurrencies, for example, that are open 24/7. And of course, no human can be like awake all the time and can be in a good mode all the time to check the market. So the big question that led to the whole company after all was, okay, so we have very high tech like AI and other techs, and we have the financial markets. So why not everyone is rich by now? So everyone should use AI in the financial markets and just have like a money machine. So why this is not the case? So just maybe 1 month or something after joining my master's degree, I started doing a literature review about that topic specifically. So why this is not the case? So I read maybe more than 100 papers in that field. So, but just after like reading maybe the first 5 or something, you will know definitely what's wrong with the field. So the big problem there is a huge gap between the technical guys and the finance guys. So the technical guys, they have all the nice technical ideas. They want to have like the most complicated machine learning algorithm and all of that, while they don't have any financial knowledge. So you just get like the prices and volumes and think that the machine learning model is going to do the rest for them. So this will never work. And in the opposite side, the guys in the financial field, they have all the fancy financial models, all the technical indicators, all of the fundamentals and all of these things, but they do not have any technical capabilities. So they just bring like off-the-shelf machine learning algorithms and put it in their fancy financial models. And they think also that there will be magic somewhere and everything will work out. This also will never work. So the conclusion of that was we have to spend equal time in both these fields, and we have to have experts in both fields. So we have to have a very good financial model and financial like for the financial markets, and we also have to have a very specified model that's purposefully built for the for trading. It's not just a generic model or something that worked in some other tasks that will just come and work in the financial markets. So that was mainly the idea and why it started.
All right. Well, that's great. I have a lot of questions about how the business started and so on, and how you reached this point. But let's go one by one. I wanted to focus a little bit more on you, right? Because you made the shift from employee to become a founder, from a technically skilled person in one area to another different area, from moving from one country to another country. So a lot of things changed for you at that point in time. Uh, what was the trigger, if any? Right? I know you mentioned that you felt you're making more money for or more value for your company than for yourself, right?
I wasn't talking
Was
about money, by the way.
money,
No, I
yeah,
wasn't talking about money. I was talking about the personal growth.
personal
So
growth.
I'm given, yes, so the money was okay. So the money was fine. I didn't have a problem with money at that point. So the thing is, I'm giving like more of my effort and time and all of that to the company, but I don't feel that I'm growing. Actually, I don't feel I'm learning anything new. Usually in many companies, maybe after 2 to 3 years, maybe like 95% of the knowledge that you're going to get from that company. If the company does not have enough motivation for you to continue and enough like growth opportunities, that will be very demotivational for an employee to continue. So that was my problem.
All right, all right. So you felt you were stagnant there in terms of your development, your knowledge, and so on. But typically, that will lead to another job, right? So, how did that lead you to doing your own thing?
So how did the job lead me to do my own thing? It's also
Yeah.
like
What was the trigger that made you
the,
decide I want to jump in and do it myself?
there was also like another say that says if you are not working on your dreams, you are working on achieving someone else's dreams.
Yeah.
So usually if you're just working for a company, you are trying to reach the goal of that company. But what if you have some other goals that the company will not do? So that it was in the back of my mind for some time. So when the time came and alhamdulillah, it was like more from God than from me. So just like when the time was good to start the company, just started.
All right. And can you share with us what are those goals that motivated you?
You mean for the
Yes,
for starting the company?
correct. Yeah. What goals are you
So
trying to accomplish with this company? Yeah.
it's mainly like, so there was many things. First of all, the impact of the company on the wider community. And so if I'm, for example, let's talk about Predictiva. So if I'm having a company that does all the Sharia compliant trading and all of these things, this is something that we almost don't have in the field. So we do not have any like high tech trading company that is doing any Sharia compliant trading. Most of the ones we have,
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to mention any names, but most of the ones we have in the field, they're mainly like trading some of the ETFs that we have, for example, or something like that. So they are not actually, they don't have any tech inside them. There's nothing special about them.
Right.
It's just that they're going to get some ETFs and they'll say, yeah, this is for long term. So maybe in 20 years, you'll be rich, maybe by that time. But the thing is, how can you make a difference? How can you make like a revolution in that field? And how
Yeah.
can you provide that? And how to make that accessible actually to more people, especially in the underserved markets like the Sharia compliant trading. So that was one of the biggest goals. The second one is when you trade yourself, you see all the problems of humans trading. So, for example, the biggest problem of all is always the emotional trading. You get emotional, you always do the bad things. You get like a loss, you try to get back to the market and to get a revenge from the market, which will never work. And also, you get tired, you get sick, you cannot. So, if you are a superhuman, how many stocks can you like monitor at the same time? How
Yeah.
many factors are you going to monitor at the same time for each stock? That can be like maybe 10 stocks and maybe 5 factors per stock, that if you're like a superhuman. But if you have something smarter that can monitor the whole market and monitor like hundreds of factors at the same time, that would make a huge difference. Actually, that would be something new. So it was mainly about the development of something new and making a difference in the world.
All right. That is, I mean, definitely a noble pursuit, right? To help people make income that, in this case, is halal, and also to serve those from outside the Muslim world as well. Um, let me. I want to jump deeper into this, the concept of the value that you're creating with your platform. But before that, maybe you could just walk through the audience, the listeners and the watchers. What actually do you do? What does your company do? What services do you provide?
Cool. So in short, how we usually define Predictiva in like 20 seconds. So we develop and utilize advanced machine learning algorithms to create fully autonomous trading systems. So that's in short what we do. So what we do is we get the data from the markets. We do all the technical analysis, fundamental analysis, microstructure, macrostructure, all the financial analysis that you would need to have a sound decision. And all of this will be given to the machine learning model, which will decide whether this is a good time to buy or to sell or to wait or however you want to see that part. And then this connects automatically to your broker and actually executes that trade in there. So in general, once you connect your account with any of our services, you do not need to do anything after that. So everything will be done autonomously, and that's where the autonomous part comes.
So what
That's in
as a
short what we do.
user, what do I control? My budget, my
Yes.
duration.
So let's talk about. So we have mainly two solutions. One is called Investiva, which is mainly for B2B, so mainly for companies.
All right.
And for this one, the
For
company
firms
come the company come. Sorry.
sorry, for the B2 for the B2B one, that's firms that facilitate trade. They use your system to help
Yes.
their system trade better.
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
it can be a robo advisory, it can be a managed fund, it can be a bank, any organization that's trading something. So the company will come to us and say, I want to trade that market. So let's say we want to trade the Singaporean market, for example. And we say, okay, if you have a portfolio, you give it to us. If not, we're going to provide you with a portfolio that we can also build that portfolio for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just choose like what time frame you want to use on any of these like small configurations. And then after that, you do not need to do anything. So as Predictiva, we are going to do all the back-end services for you. So all the model training, all the trading, all the execution, all the monitoring and the reporting, everything will be done through our service. That's the business-to-business solution, which is called Investiva. The one that's mainly for consumers is called B2C. As the B2C is called Cryptiva, which is from the name, it's for cryptocurrencies. And this one, you just sign up for the service you want, and then you just connect your API key from one of the exchanges, from one of the crypto exchanges. So we connect with multiple exchanges. You just connect your API key and secret with that, and you choose how much you want to trade in each of the tokens. That's all what you need to do, and then Cryptiva or Myara is going to do all the rest for you.
Wow. Sounds amazing. Two questions. One, the Sharia component is built in. That means anything we do using your system, whether B2B or B2C, it's all Sharia compliant.
Yes, everything we do is Sharia-compliant, and that was so the company was built on that. So it was not an add-on after that.
Okay. And the other question is, for how do users find you? I mean, a lot of people trade in crypto, but they may not know that you exist in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And so how do they find you, and how do they the link that you mentioned, the API that you pull from the wallet, does the provider, the crypto exchange, need to have that ready, or can somebody DIY?
Okay. Yeah. So how to find us? Actually, for Cryptiva, we didn't do like an official launch yet. So we're going to do that in the next month and a half or 2 months. We
All right.
started like a soft launch, like since maybe 14 months or something now. And the goal of that soft launch was to get any feedback from the users, anything that we think is good or bad. So now we are revamping the whole like app and website and everything to accommodate all the new comments that we got during that time. And it was also a good time for us to test the performance of the models. Now we are confident. So in the last year, we in crypto have done like 60 or 70% profits. So it was some very good return during that time. We are even trying to make that better in the next couple of weeks and months. So we have it's just a website that you can just go, and it's called Cryptiva.io. You just go there and you'll find a service called Nero. Nero is our AI trading platform. Just when you pay the subscription and you get your API and key and secret from, let's say, Binance Exchange, let's say just for an example, you do not need any permissions from Binance or anywhere, but you can do that automatically actually from Binance. And there are actually many, let's say, articles about how to do this. It's very straightforward. It can take only like 2-3 minutes actually to set up.
All right, excellent. But I want to go a little bit deeper in terms of the business model, your journey as an entrepreneur, as a founder. So you from what I hear, it seems that you're doing more of, or you started mainly with B2B and now you're entering B2C, right? And I know these two are different animals, right? B2B business is totally different. You need different kind of business development, partnerships.
Exactly.
Whereas for B2C, you go to the public and you try and get the mass market. Why do you choose to do both? Why not focus on one? In this case, you started with B2B.
Okay, so the goal was actually to be a B2B company. That was the main thing. And we signed like a couple of deals in that field. But the thing is, we got actually pressured by the individual users on having like a service that can serve also the smaller investors. So the goal was actually to also accommodate the goals of the smaller investors, since not everyone will have a company to invest, and not everyone will be able to join these companies because each investment company will have their own rules about, for example, the geography of the users and the minimum amounts of trading and all of these things. So it mainly the B2C was to accommodate and to help also the smaller users to use our services.
All right.
I know it's a big headache, and even for us, it's much bigger headache than the B2B. The B2B is much like easier to deal with, and it's easier to manage because you are talking to only one person after all. So just, but in the B2C, you are talking to every single user actually, and some of them will send like tickets every day or every couple of days. So you have to deal with that. But we are managing that well so far.
Yeah, B2B is definitely easier if you get the big clients, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
the challenge will be getting the clients.
Correct. Yeah. Retail is always there, but it's hard to scale. It's hard to manage, and so on.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. And to sort of follow up on that question, the B2B is stocks, right? And B2C is crypto.
Yes.
So for your system, the AI system, is it in a sense equally implementable or valid for both markets, or are there different systems?
Okay, yeah, that's a nice question because the models are very different actually in both of them. So the idea is the same, but the models are totally different. So each market is different. Actually, we have a single model per asset actually. So even inside the market itself, like if you're trading stocks, the model for, let's say, NVIDIA is different from the model for AMD, for example. So these are totally different models. So we deal with each of them as a different thing actually. And that was one of the things that also distinguished us from the crowd, that we know that every single asset is different. Let's say the whales in every single asset are different, how they deal with things, how they buy, how they sell. So you need actually a single model for each of these assets. And that becomes even bigger, like when you move from one market to another. So when we are trading the US market, the models are totally different from the UK market, for example, or the Singaporean market, which are some of the markets we have tried so far. And it's much different when you go to the cryptocurrency market, which is much more volatile. It has less regulation. It has more problems like over the time. And so each of these markets will have different models.
All right. Okay, that's very interesting. I had assumed there's some kind of way to implement it across the board and just adjust it a little bit, but if it's a
It just needs adjustment. So it's just like it's not like we are implementing a totally new thing, but you need to adjust many of the aspects of the model to be okay with that specific market.
okay. But the base of it, the framework of it is similar.
Base is the same. The idea is the same. The code base is the same. It just
I see.
some of the factors that you need to change about the volatility, about how the market, let's say, microstructures go.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about the investment, right? Your product, the investment product. Returns have been good so far.
Yeah, so for the stock market, so we have started in the US market since end of November 2022. So it's been like 16, 17 months so far. And we are making more than 41% until today, which is much higher than for example, S&P is doing almost 30%, and
Yeah.
the Dow Jones is doing like 17, 18% during that period. So we have been beating the market for continuously during that time. So we believe that we can do the same, like in any other markets in the future, or even the US markets on a much bigger scale.
Right. And your system works sort of equally well when things are bullish as well as when things are bearish.
It's trained in dealing with both of them. So we make sure that it's because in the backtesting stages, we make sure that it has enough examples to train on the good times and the bad times and the average time, that like the sideways. So we make sure that it actually works in all of these times. And this is how we actually get to beat the market. So when the market is going up, everyone gets profits.
Yeah.
The problem will come when the market goes down. Are you going to lose the same as the market loss, or are you going to be better than the market? This is what distinguishes actually between a good system and a bad system.
All right. Is this more for day traders or long term traders?
So we usually say it's a swing trade. So it's not scalping. So we do not do, for example, like 1 minute trades and all of these things. We usually do like maybe 1 hour candles in the stocks, which makes the deal between a couple of days to a couple of weeks. So between, let's say, a day or two until maybe 6, 7, 8 days, something like that.
All right. Also very active, a lot of transactions.
Sorry?
Very actively transacting. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like the long-term thing that only does like a trade every month or quarter, but it's also
Yeah.
not very frequent. So we don't like do a trade like every day in each stock and all that. It was actually from our also backtesting effort, because we actually started with 1 minute data, and but after some testing, we found actually these very small ones, they have much more noise and the accuracy will be less during that time. So if you use a bigger like a bigger time frame, but not too big, just a little bit bigger. So you get rid of some of the noises, and you also get the same profits as the smaller one, with much less trade, with let's say many less number of trades.
Understand. Right. I want to go a little bit more fundamental in the sense of the nature of the investments that you're promoting with your technology, right? Because I come from a very different viewpoint or view of investments, right? Some people will be surprised. I personally don't trade, and basically my investment is in my own real estate and so on, as well as time and a little bit of money in private companies, right? So that's what I prefer, because to me maybe I'm a tech guy, but I'm a little bit old school, right? Now, uh, yeah. So for the stock market, and here I'm gonna challenge you, right? It's a
No,
friendly
go
chat.
ahead.
So when you're investing in the stock market, and in this case trading actively in that sense, um, I mean, I'm not questioning whether it's halal or not, right? I mean, inshallah, it's halal. Sharia advisors are there, and I know also that you go the extra mile sometimes to make sure Sharia compliant. But what value do you actually create? When you place your money in these markets, and it essentially just tries to predict and beat trends, right? and I get wealthier over time, which is great. But what benefit do I bring to the world? You know, from that perspective.
Okay, yeah, that's a good thing. So it's actually because of not having any Sharia compliant services before, most of Muslims were not involved at all in these markets, which are like these are huge markets. We should have a fingerprint in these markets. We should show ourselves there. We should own some of these things ourselves. So these are the companies that are actually managing the whole world and leading the whole world. So we need to have something in there. So I believe this is it's a good thing for everyone to have a share in the companies in the big tech companies, especially the tech giants and all of these ones, because this is the future and we should own some of that future.
All right. So also the idea of ensuring that there's wealth creation as well, right?
Yeah, of course.
I think
This is also
I mean, investing in the private markets is interesting, but it is also a different kind of risk.
yes. So this is like it's maybe a higher risk, but also higher return, or let's say also a faster return. Let's say sometimes. So if I'm investing in let's say in a real estate, I might need maybe 10 years to gain the results of that investment. But in the stock market, you might need a couple of months or a couple of years, and you can get some good returns during that time. And for me, I'm not saying that everyone should actually invest in the stock markets like all their money. You always have to have some diversified portfolio. So every investment comes with the pros and cons. So for the stock market, for example, you have the pros of having like maybe you are going with the hype of the whole world. For example, at sometimes you are investing in the future for in some of the big like technical advancements. But of course, you also have the drawbacks or the con of having like you might lose some money at some point. You might not get what you are looking for. The other things, like for example, real estates, you know that it's less risky, but it takes more time to get the profits out of that. So for each investment, usually everyone, if you have enough money, you should diversify your portfolio between multiple, let's say, investment avenues.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. And another question with the what's happening with the world today, right? The BDS movement, the genocide in Palestine. How's that changing how you work, right? Or is that affecting your algorithms and your approach, your strategy?
So it's affecting us in some areas. For example, when that first started, we had to cut relationships with Oracle, for example, because of what the statement that they have said. Like in their Middle Eastern website, they said like very clearly that we support Israel, even in Arabic and in English. It was like a very stupid move to do. Actually, now they are saying sorry, we didn't mean it. But yeah, at that point, we had, for example, to cut our relationships. We had to find another supplier for our clouds, for example. For some companies, if they are clearly supporting the genocide in Gaza, we do not trade their stocks if there's anything like that, and we do not deal with any like of the shady ones, like all the food and beverage and all these things. So we do not actually trade these at all. So this was not a problem for us, but mainly for the tech companies. If they show any signs of support for the genocide in there, we do not trade them.
All right. Okay. Yeah, this is great to know because I mean Sharia compliance, the way it's done right now, is not yet factoring this in, right?
Yes, and that was the thing that I talked to some people about. Like, if you, for example, just follow the IUFI guidelines, for example, you'll find many of the companies that are, they're Sharia compliant and using the IUFI standards, which are just about how much debts they have, how much revenues from like non-Sharia compliant sources and all these things. But what about the other things? What about the ethical stuff? What about for example, what about if they're like if their revenues is generally coming from ads, for example, like Google, for example. I think Google have like 70 or 80% of their portfolio, their revenues coming from ads.
Yeah.
Even though they don't have any debts or do not like trade alcohol or something, but what about the content of these ads? What do they actually show in there?
Yeah.
So Yeah, so there's still like you have to go the extra mile. It's not just that you have an equation and you follow that equation. If it says yes, you go on trade. You have to actually go and check the stocks themselves and what they do, what are their opinions about the different things in this world.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's great to know that we could go deeper than just. I guess that maybe the approach of EOF and other bodies is to try to quantify things, right? So it's
Yes.
easier, it's more applicable to different contexts, right? But sometimes definitely the spirit behind it is also important, like the agenda behind it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I
Right.
believe so. IOF is doing a great job actually to unify how the Muslim ones should look at investments. But
Yes.
I think every company should do a little bit more work after doing the after checking these standards.
Yes, indeed. Okay, we have Yusuf. Feel free to let the questions be seen coming from the crowd. I have a list of questions here. I've already asked you quite a few of them, but we may have questions coming in live that we can address also.
Nice.
Maybe let's talk about sustainability and investment. Because startups,
Mhm.
especially new disruptive ones, you need some time. Usually, you need some investment. There is a gestation period to develop your capability before you can actually start earning revenue. So for you, for your company, how was that journey in terms of being able to afford the business or to run the business? Do you raise money from outside? Can you please share with us?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So yeah, we have raised money a couple of times. So we had like our first round was a pre-seed round, which was mainly friends and families. That was almost $350,000 or something like that. This was very good for us to start like hiring maybe the first employee in the company and just doing the more like basic stuff. The thing after that was that we got a grant from the UK government. It was almost like $450,000. It's equity free, but that helped us a lot in expanding because that money has to be spent within 1 year. So that was the money that we used to expand the team and to hire more people, to hire the experts that we needed.
So it had to be spent
Uh,
within a year. That's an interesting
yeah,
criteria.
yeah, they have that. So they give you the money and you give you like a timeline. You have to spend it during that time. So and you have to spend it yourself and then invoice it.
Okay.
It
And this
was
is
it's
a grant for technology companies, startups, and so on.
Yes, it's called the Smart Grant. It's a very hard thing to get. I think the success rate is like 1% in that grant
Right. Right.
because it's equity free and they give you enough money to do that.
Mhm.
But after that, they continue monitoring how you spend that money because you said, for example, that you're going to spend 70% of the money in workforce, for example. You cannot say, no, no, I'm changing my mind now and I'm putting this money in somewhere else. So you start monitoring how you do that. So that was the thing that made the expansion a little bit. And after that, we had our seed round, but at the beginning of that, we made a crowdfunding round actually. So
Mhm.
this was like a two-side thing actually. So there was like two benefits of that. First of all, the time was bad in the market at that point to reach VCs. And if you go to a VC and say that I don't have money, this will be a very big problem for you because they will start putting their terms and they will try to do whatever they want at that point because you need the money. Yeah.
The squeeze,
So
squeeze them.
that squeeze you a little bit. And actually the bigger goal for us at that point was we were trying to build a community around Predictiva. So uh, at that point we did the crowdfunding ourselves. So we did not use like Crowdcube or any of the known websites. We decided to do like our marketing campaign ourselves and the personal branding and the company branding and everything at that point. So we created after that the community. So we have a community in Telegram that has around 10,000 people. So
All right.
these 10,000 people, they are all interested in what Predictiva actually provides. They're interested in investments in Predictiva. These are different from who we have in our like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and all of these. So these are just people interested in them. So and those were the people who actually joined the crowdfunding. That was like back in 2023, beginning of 2023 in January, and
All
that
right.
was around 600,000. And then we continued with our seed round, which was around $2.1 million from different investors.
All right. Brilliant. So is mostly angel investors initially, and later on one or two VCs.
Yeah, so now we have a lead investor from Saudi Arabia. This is our main investor now. But yeah, so the first ones were angels, and the last one was a company, an investment firm.
Right. Now, wearing your investor's hat, because we are ethicists, and I mean Hasan, we have our angel group, right? It's an active community as well. What we see that there is interest now, especially in the Muslim world, to start investing in startups, to become angel investors, but there's not much, or maybe not enough capability and awareness and education. Right? What would be your advice to an angel investor? What would you say to angel investors? Yeah, when they want to start their investment journey.
So this is for Indian investors who want to invest in other companies, right?
Yeah, in general, yeah.
So yeah, this is it's a very tricky one because it's really hard to find something that is useful and Sharia-compliant at the same time. So you will need to search very good like in these fields. So maybe as if you start as an angel investor, it's better to join one of the, let's say, the angel groups. So there are some angel groups, you have one, and there are some groups like in Saudi Arabia and the UAE. I think if you join these groups, that will help you to know about the good opportunities out there. That will help you a lot instead of just going yourself, because it's really hard. For example, if you live, let's say, in Malaysia, and I'm having a company in the UK, how would you hear about me? It's really hard to hear about me. So maybe if you are joining one of these like big groups at the beginning, that will help you to know about the companies, and then will help you how to learn how to actually find these opportunities yourself in the future.
Right. And I mean, you've been relatively successful, I would say, in raising funds from angels and your own crowdfunding. So, when you raise funds in those sub rounds or those rounds, what was it that you see attracted the investors? Is it the growth, the financial return, or is it more of the vision and the mission of it?
I think as an investor, you have to look at all of these things. So as an angel investor, I think the first thing you have to look for is the team. So does the company have the team that is going to be actually serious about your money, or it's just like some people who are trying to collect some money, do some stuff, and then you go away. So this is one thing. The other thing is the tech. So do the company have the tech, the actual tech that they are talking about? It's something distinguishable, something that no one else has, something that's hard to copy by other companies. Do they have that or not? And the third thing for me is also, do the founders and the company understand the growth potentials of the company or not? And whether you can imagine this growth or not. So if I tell you, for example, that, yeah, I have this very nice product and this will be like a unicorn in 3 years. Does that make sense? I mean, you have to go and search whether this makes sense or not. Do you have like enough market? Do they have like enough people in the team to do that? And whether the actual team is complete enough to make the company reach that point or not.
Yes. Right. Brilliant. Thank you. Those are all very very point on point. um, we call it advice from you, right? And for us in Hasan, that's exactly what we do. We need and we want to build the community, and it's difficult to do it alone. Really, if you're an angel investor or potential angel investor, a lot of people start informally, right? Somebody, a friend, a relative, co-worker approaches them and say, "I have this business. It's very exciting. It's very interesting. Can you put $20,000, $10,000?" And that's how a lot of angel investors start. But there is a process there. There is a need to build a portfolio. There's a need to do a lot of things. And if you're going to
Yes,
do all that on your own, it's going to be very very tough, right? Yeah. So that's why we
exactly.
exist, and that's why we are speaking to you today also, because we want to share with the world that there are such amazing founders and startups that are doing great things and achieving success in the halal space, and that's where, inshallah, we see potential upside for everyone in this world as well as, inshallah, in the next. All right, we've come to the end of the show. We have a minute left, and maybe I'll pass the mic to you again to say a few words, especially to budding entrepreneurs who will be looking at you for inspiration. What would you like to share with them?
So usually for entrepreneurs, I have like three main advice that I usually tell them. So first of all is the connections. Connections is the most important thing you can have, and the most precious thing that you can look for. This will help you a lot, like especially at the beginning of your journey and after that. That's the first thing. Second thing is hope for the best, plan for the worst. Always have plans if your plans actually all fall apart. Maybe the first plan fall apart, the second plan fall apart. Do you still have any other plans that will work? And the third one is that you are not in a race with anyone. You're just in a race with yourself. So do not look at others and say, okay, this guy started the company before me and he has that now. This guy got married and he has kids and I don't. It's just like everyone is in a separate race. So just focus on yourself and what you're doing, and you will be much more successful this way.
That's those are wise words. I'll make a poster out of it and post it on LinkedIn.
Thanks.
Especially the last one. All three are good advice, but especially the last one, because in the startup world, in the founders world, the FOMO is very high. Oh, that guy got funded. That guy got this. This guy got that, and I'm not there yet. Right.
Yes.
The reality is the VC landscape, the startup landscape has changed so much in just the past 3 years. So I mean, it's so such significant changes that if you're looking at what other people are getting now or doing now, is because they put in the effort 1, 2, 3 years ago, not now, right? So you're only
Yeah.
trying to do it now to emulate them. It's probably not going to work. All
And
right,
everyone is
Alhamdulillah. Thank
sacrificing something actually. So this is also another thing. So no one gets everything for free. So if you are successful in your company, you have to be sacrificing something else. So maybe that's in the cost of maybe family or good time or anything that you want to have. So, but you do not see all of these things. You just see the success, and you do not see all the other hurdles that's happening in life.
Yes, yes, and of course, for Muslims, we know that whatever is due to us, whatever is meant for us, is already set, right? So, but at the
Yeah.
same time, we got to put in the effort. We got to have the right intentions, and inshallah, things will open up along the way. Okay, brother, thank you so much. I have a lot more questions to ask, but we run out of time, so I'll ask those privately. And inshallah, today
Sure.
has been a session that's valuable for all of you tuning in. Remember Hasan.VC. We have Hasan Meets at least twice a month, typically, sometimes more. And today we have heard from Brother Maysara from Predictiva. Check out their website, see what they do for retail, for individuals. There's the crypto, autonomous crypto trading that you can potentially be involved in, and it's fully Sharia compliant, inshallah. If you're a business in the space of stock trading, there's definitely a very interesting possibility here for you to bring your business to another level. Right. Thank you so much again, brother, and we'll keep in touch. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.